Hello everyone, it's been a long time. My absence has been because of many things. Christmas, New Year's, a lot of stuff. I've been trying to get my driver's license, so I've been very busy, but I'm back. I'm at home, and I want to talk to you today about why and how I know so much about all this nonsense, such as Korean alcohols and beer and stuff. So let's start with Makgeolli. So this makgeolli is one that I made. It's a double dannyangju with a lotus leaf infusion. So I made this myself, like I said. Now, making makgeolli isn't hard, in the same way that making wine isn't hard. Now, making good makgeolli is hard, making good wine is hard, but how did I get here? How am I at the point where I can make makgeolli that I can give my friends and they say, wow, Kevin, this is pretty good. It's not always a hit, because I like to experiment. But generally speaking, my stuff's pretty good. So how did this come about? Well, this is from one singular organism called Susubori Academy. So this is the first one that I have. This is the Makgeolli Brewing Foundation's certificate. I got this in 2016, May of 2016, so 5.5 years ago about. So basically, it's a pretty short course, and it is taught by the wonderful Julia Malore. She's Australian. So Susubori Academy, the Sulhagwan, hired her to teach classes to people who don't speak Korean, for foreigners that live here. She's a dear, she's amazing, she's brilliant. If you're gonna name one foreigner on the peninsula that knows the most about makgeolli and traditional Korean stuff, like spirit-wise, that would be her. So, in the first module, pretty basic, but I mean, it's good to take. It's your first time doing this stuff, right? So you make a very simple recipe. This is a double dannyangju. The first one you do is dannyangju. Steamed rice, water, nuruk, ferment, see what happens. Very simple. And then you do kind of an infusion class where you do that recipe, and then you put some flowers in to kind of learn how to play with flavors and stuff like that, much like I did with the lotus in this one. And then you have a graduation class where you just drink and those are always fun. You usually bring your own brews in too that you've been making, and then kind of everyone tastes and criticizes your stuff. So that's level 1. Now I have three level 2 ones. Let me get them in order here. There we go. So I did take the second level one a few months after that first level. So this is July 2016, and then I took it again in November 2020, and I just recently did this again and graduated a month ago, December 19th of 2021. So, you're wondering, why did you take the same thing 3 times? Are you stupid? Yes, but also, it's good to refresh on this stuff. Because when I went back, just even last month for this newest session, we were making this basic recipe, and I was still going like, oh, yeah, like I don't actually do that as much as I should when I'm mixing or I'm doing that. So it's good to constantly upgrade your skills, but also refresh your skills that you already have too, and kind of reinforce like, oh yeah, I'm kind of lazy when I do that. I should really be doing this thing. So in the advanced course, what kind of stuff do we learn? We learn advanced recipes. So the first class you do steamed rice, water, nuruk. Dead simple. At the second level, you start to learn how to start with porridge recipes. And then as time goes on, add more porridge, and then add more porridge, and then, 2 weeks later, add some steamed rice. You learn about how to kind of ramp yourself up with the water content and the rice going in at different levels over certain periods of time. It's not rocket science, but learning that stuff and getting a knack for doing different stages of fermentation until you hit the 5th stage, which I'm brewing over there. The more stages you do, the more delicious the makgeolli will be afterwards, generally speaking. So you do things like half-cooked rice, porridge recipes, you make dok and then brew with that. That's a lot of the kind of 2-stage minimum, not just steamed rice and water and nuruk. You're learning different recipes and incorporating them into longer fermentation times with different stages of adding rice. Also, making your own nuruk. Very important. They don't always hit because it is difficult. You could make your own 8-class course about making nuruk and, learn a lot, but it's just one class. So you make nuruk with wheat, you make nuruk with rice. We made a mung bean one on the one session. And I should say, all these sessions are not 100% the same. Some of them you'll make one kind of nuruk, another one you'll make a different kind. One of them had a history of Korean alcohol class that Julia did, which was very interesting. I learned a lot from that. We did a distilling one where we took the chungju that we had made and then distilled it into soju, which is cool. I don't really love doing that personally, but it was nice to do it once and kind of go, oh shit, like I distilled something. That's kind of cool. So the second level is highly, highly recommended to get way more appreciation and knowledge for the different alcohols and recipes that you're going to make. Also, the graduation classes are a lot better because instead of 3 weeks or 4 weeks to have the intro class, now you've had 8 weeks and many different recipes to do. So the stuff that you're fermenting at the beginning is finished and ready and it's good to go. So everyone brings it to the grad class and shares their different recipes that they've been working on. You have more time to ferment. Even if you're not making extra fermentation stuff, but just the class ones, everyone brings those in and you get to try. Everyone did the same recipe in the same room, but we fermented in different places and we took care of it different ways. And you'll be amazed at how the exact same recipe from, Kevin tastes like this, and then the next one from Jeffrey tastes, like, yeah, it's the same thing? Holy shit. Which is also very intimidating. You follow the recipe and you try and keep things fairly consistent and you just get this wildly different stuff. So, another reason I took the advanced levels again is because, you can see down here, the Ministry of, and I'll never remember the name, it's an agricultural subdivision. They sponsor this as kind of a Korean soft power thing. So they will say, hey, this course is usually 750,000 won. We will sponsor a large chunk of it so that these people can learn how to make makgeolli, and it's like 200,000 won. It's so ridiculously cheap compared to the original cost. So when I see, even though I've done it, when I see something 8 classes for $200, I go, oh, I'd be silly not to go and make new friends and reinforce the things that I've learned and drink other people's delicious makgeolli in class as a benefit of that too. And $200, poof, so well worth the price. So that's how I know so much about this makgeolli stuff. I've taken 3 advanced courses from Asul Hagwon in English, took the intro course, I go to a lot of breweries if I can, talk to the brewers there, I buy the wares, I drink it. There's also kind of like a life experience, hands-on aspect to this too. I brew, I fuck up, I change, it's better. Some of them are great, some of them are not so great. They're much better now than they were 4 or 5 years ago, which is to be expected as someone who brews. If it gets shittier, you're really doing something wrong. But yeah, I do have kind of hands-on experience. I'm curious. I go travel to different places, get new makgeollis. I'm formally educated in it, and that's how I've come to be educated in this kind of stuff.